There we go. Okay, so we are now recording. So in like a minute, we'll start the actual show as usual. We'll fill here just to ensure that OBS actually starts the recording when I told it to, because it doesn't for some reason, because it's a moron.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, somebody just subbed. Ochifuji with a 50-month. 50 months of milking the free Twitch sub I get from my in-laws Prime sum. Hey, I appreciate your in-laws Prime. I can say words, I swear.
Supuestamente.
Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. I'll be all right. Will I, though?
Guess we'll find out together.
Next time on Dragon Ball Z. Oof, I apologize for that one.
Yeah. It's a classic.
It is. Oh, excuse me. All right, that's a minute. Here we go. Oh, damn. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Dorks, just chatting here on the Mana Pool. I, as usual, am Chewie, and I am wearing pants and a shirt with a giant hole in it. Oh my god, did I took the trash out wearing this. Whoops.
Where is the giant hole in the shirt?
Right across, like, my gut.
Huh.
Like, you know that scar, the big-ass scar on my stomach? You might not, even though we've been friends for, ever.
I don't know the last time
I
I've
know.
actually seen your stomach, so...
Well, it's better that way. But yeah, that is hanging out for all the world to see. So, it was from a knife fight in Compton. You should see the other guy.
Should see the other guy. No.
Anyway, who are
I'm
you
Brian.
other dorks?
I'm Brian. I'm as how did Chewie put it? Like usual. I'm Brian as usual, and I'm the lead rambler and tangent master of the group, and I'm here to make jokes 5 to 10 seconds after somebody else does. Unless they're lagging, then at the same time.
I'm Mike. I'm the rules guy and game lore guy, and I'm here to think of some really neat jokes, but way too late to insert into the conversation, and I'll just give up eventually.
And I'm Dirk, the self-proclaimed greenest man alive and moral compass of the group. And I'm here to chew bubblegum and kick butt. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
You're gonna say I'm all out of butt. They both start with the same letter, so...
There you go.
I am not out of butt. I'm out of pocket. I think I know what that means. And I think it applies to me. Anyway.
Is that a pool joke?
Was that what?
A pool, like, billiards joke? You're out of pocket?
No.
Corner pocket? No? Okay.
No,
all right.
No. Oh, you made it not funny.
You're welcome.
I am. I just got an email from Nintendo about a giant sale that they've got going on. So I opened up the site, clicked on my wish list. Of course, it's all first-party Nintendo stuff, so none of it's on sale. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks there, Nintendo. I appreciate you. Anyway. So, this is a Just Chatting episode because reasons. And those reasons are we're probably not doing a show the next 2 weeks. And if we do, we'll be shorthanded. Because we're missing Dirk next week, right?
Yep.
And we're missing Brian the week after that.
Correct.
Although I might get to see Dirk while he's actually around this area, so that'll be awesome.
Oh, cool.
Don't forget, hit me
I
up,
won't
bruh.
be able to record.
Yeah, well, no one cares though. But hit me up though. We'll have dinner or lunch or the butt stuff or something.
Okay.
I like the way that did not phase Dirk at all. He's like, yeah,
I know, right?
stuff,
That was
yeah.
perfect.
After I've been married to Chelsea for long enough that things like that don't faze me anymore.
nice.
You heard it here, folks. Things like that don't phase him anymore. So,
Oh yeah. Oh, excuse me. So, hey, there was. Oh yeah, Happy Pride Month. That is true. It is Pride now.
absolutely.
And if you're one of those people who's upset that it's Pride Month, don't listen to this show. Also, die mad.
A harder snowflake.
I've posted around all of the various social medias a picture of people holding up a big ass banner that says "Respect my trans homies, or else I'm gonna identify." I can't say that on the show. Or else I'm gonna identify as a frickin' problem.
Yeah.
And that makes me happy. But anyway, so 3/4 of us have now finished the Fallout show.
And waiting on Mike to finish a TV show.
He's a fool
I lo-
there.
Okay, now the show that you've been waiting on Mike to finish is like 1,000 seasons long, so I can sort of dig that one.
15, which is basically the same.
Yeah,
But I'm
once
just
you get
thinking
over
it's
like
been-
8, it's basically the same.
But I'm just saying in general, and Mike acknowledges it.
But
Don't you, Mike?
Yeah.
I wanna to talk briefly about the Fallout show. Not, I don't want to get too spoilery, especially since Cynthia in the chat is only 3 episodes in. But we won't spoil anything big. How about that?
Everyone is secretly a bear.
I said we won't spoil anything big.
Well, that's episode 4, so okay. All right.
And they're
Sorry,
not called
Cynthia.
bears. They're called Yao Guai. So, okay. We talked about this on the episode or 2, however many, where we looked at Fallout cards, but I have only ever played Fallout 3, but I am voracious for like Fallout stuff.
Mhm.
Dirk has played what, 3 New Vegas and 4?
Yep.
Did you play 76?
Nope.
Okay, good boy. And Brian and Mike haven't played any.
No.
Right, Brian?
Correct.
Okay.
Sorry, I thought you heard me.
So, we've got a good spread here of people. Now, Mike hasn't watched the show, as we said, but whatever. So, did you guys like it? Renee and I loved it. Renee has also played 3 in New Vegas and 4. 3 and 4 extensively. We're talking like hundreds, plural, of hours. So Renee and I really dug the show. What did you guys think?
Having never played any of it, and my knowledge of it only from what I've gathered from popular culture and talking to you guys and looking at cards, I thought it was great. And I watched it with my wife, and she's not usually one for like gory stuff or anything like that. And there were certainly violent parts of the show. I don't think it was her favorite, but she was okay to keep watching it. She said more than once, "This is just weird." And I'm like, "Do you want to turn it off?" She's like,
Yes.
"No."
That is a great
No.
description of the Fallout universe.
That's what my parents
Just
kept
weird.
saying because Mom and Dad watched it too. They actually finished it before Renee and I did. And I was like, "What do you think?" And Mom's like, "It's really weird." I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "No, I mean, it's really weird." I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "I don't think you follow me." Oh, no, I follow you. Fallout is just weird, so it's good to know that you think the show is weird, because it should be. She's like, it's... I was like, do you get what's going on? She's like, oh yeah, we're following. Oh, okay. It's just weird. She's like, it's really weird. Okay, Mom. And then when they were done with it, she said, oh, that last episode was really good. You're going to love it. I was like, all right, please stop talking now, because I'm only 4 episodes in. Thank you. But, like, I really appreciated that they did it right. Like, they made a good stories, because you're following their 3 main characters that you're futzing around with throughout the show, and they're all doing different things by and large, for large chunks of the show, and they're all vastly different characters. You've got your fresh out of the vault, Lucy. You've got your indoctrinated into the Brotherhood of Steel, not Titus. What? Maximus?
Maximus.
There we go.
Yeah.
And you've got your...
Wait, he's not? No, just kidding. Keep going.
And you've got your...
I've been there since been here for a really long time and seen a lot of things.
Yeah, like... I've been around since before all this crap happened, Ghoul. And... I love each of their various perspectives on things. And you even get a little bit of the Enclave and a little bit of some NCR and a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
There was a point when Carrie looked at me and she's like, how old is the average person on this show? And I'm like, apparently pretty old. But that, I don't want to get into any sort of, like, we're trying to avoid too many spoilers, so. But there's some geriatrics on this show, man.
Chifuji just said, can you all believe that Ella Purnell, who plays Lucy, is British and affecting an American accent? I thought her accent sounded a little off, but I thought that's because she was, playing a extremely corny vault dweller. I had no idea. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
No, I had no idea.
Because I don't know of anything I've ever seen her in before. I looked her up and was like, nah. But okay, so what I think makes it work is they made the good stories, everybody's storyline, whether you like the character or not. And some of them I went back and forth on. The Ghoul, especially.
I was gonna say that too. They felt like kind of real people in an unreal situation.
Yeah. Like,
keep going.
The Ghoul does horrible things multiple times throughout the show, but, like, he saves the dog.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, he can't be all bad. And then there's Maximus, who just makes multiple stupid decisions throughout the entire show. But, I see where he's coming from for all of those.
Yeah.
But they made all of these stories that are well done and well told, and they all fit into the world of Fallout. But let me figure out how to word this, because it's all in my head and just sort of spilling out of my mouth. But they don't, like, shove, oh, this is from the video game, in your face constantly. They're not, like, elbowing you and going, huh? There's all kinds of Fallout fan service.
Yes, there is.
Everywhere, every frame of the show. But it's all there for you to notice, and if you don't get it, like, my parents didn't get it, and Brian and Carrie, most likely, didn't get it, like, it doesn't matter.
I think the best way to sort of put it is that if you're going, I don't understand this, then the best advice that can be given is, well, go play the games.
But, like,
and you'll have a better understanding of what it means.
Well,
so like
I
you
don't
say,
know.
it's not beating you over the head with it. If you're just not sure, then go. The show doesn't hide. Well, go find out for yourself.
Well, I don't know. I see with this sort of thing, I'm okay if I don't understand something. At this point, having watched the show, I kind of trust for them to tell me if it's important. Like later, if something drops and I'm like, I don't know what that means. If they explain it later, I'm like, cool. And if they don't explain it, I'm like,
Guess that was
okay,
nothing.
I don't. I get well, but it doesn't bother me. There's sometimes where I'm like, I want to know about this, and the IP or whatever does a horrible job about not telling it to you. But there's enough, maybe because there's so much weird stuff on this show that if I don't get it explained, I'm like, all right, that just kind of fits for the setting. It's interesting. It's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy that way. I'm not using that phrase exactly correctly, but the weirdness of the show and of the environment, if there's anything that's not completely explained, I'm all right with that because it's Fallout. And maybe things are just really that weird. Or maybe I'll find more about it later.
Yeah, like I don't think that another reason I like the show so much is because you don't have to have played any of the games to be able
Right.
to enjoy the show. Like if there's something in there that just doesn't make much sense to you, chances are it doesn't have much to do with what's actually happening in the plot. Because I thought that, like, one of the problems I had with the Warcraft movie was that it was there for, like, lore nerds to masturbate to or get mad about, or both. But, but the story they were telling itself was just kind of okay. Like, it wasn't a bad movie, but if you went in with zero Lorecraft knowledge, it was probably gonna not do much for you.
Yeah.
I never saw it.
I don't even remember the story beats from it. I saw it, but I don't hardly remember anything about it.
Exactly. Whereas the Fallout show keeps all that to a minimum. And it's just like, here's the Brotherhood of Steel. And you learn what they do immediately. They're like, oh, we're back and we found these artifacts. And what is it? And it's
Yeah.
technology. Got it. Okay, they go after technology. Nailed it. Uh, and that's
Right,
that's
yeah.
that's the information you need.
Yeah. I didn't need a summary of this is what this faction does because the show did such a good job of showing, not telling.
Hmm.
I
Or
didn't feel
telling
like
through
there were
context clues.
right. I didn't feel like there was any one point that was too much of a lore dump that and some exposition is necessary from time to time, like in the last couple episodes, which I'm not going to go into, but most of the time I'm like, I don't understand what that is. The whole time, the first time in the first episode we switched to Maximus, I'm like, I have no idea what any of this means. I'm seeing the armor, I'm like, I don't know what that. And by the end of maybe the first, maybe second episode, I'm like, I know everything that I need to know about these guys and the
Hmm.
relationship between Maximus and Titus and what that means for each of them. Like Chewie mentioned the characters. I'm a big story guy, whether it's especially books, movies, whatever. I've enjoyed some creative writing. I don't know that I'll ever call myself a writer because I just haven't held myself to it. But I am so keyed on characters, and nothing will ruin a good story for me more than bad characters. Or when they're like, especially in a multi-book series, when they're like, oh, this character's gonna turn evil now because you need them to, or they do something that is so that just does not match what that character would do because the author needs it. So on Fallout, these are complicated people. And I like that. I really do. And everything they do makes a certain amount of sense, even if I'm yelling at Maximus. I don't think this is spoilers for the first four episodes of like, dude, no, dude, no. But you get it. You get it. and not everything is all happy, and it shouldn't be, but I still feel like I get why that's happening. I also like how sometimes they'll introduce a side character, and then I'm like, okay, that's it. I get why they're there, and then later they're like bringing it back, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. For example, and I think this is okay to say. I don't think this is a spoiler. I thought once Lucy left the vault, that was it. We're shifting focus to the wasteland. That was not it
That was
for the
not it.
vault.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Oh yeah, I
like,
forgot about her little brother
her
being
brother,
another main character.
what was a perfect example of like, oh, he's the brother. So we get it, and maybe we'll see a little bit of him. No, and these other people that fill out the vault. And I like how, again, you said it, not everything is spelled out. There's a couple things that are implied, and there's one thing in particular that I think they went so close to saying and they never said it out loud. And Carrie was like, "Did they really?" And I'm like, "I think so." But I can't say what it is
Hmm?
because it's definitely going to spoiler territory. But maybe I'll ask Chewie about it later. So,
Bless you.
yeah, in case you can't tell, does that sound like a sneeze?
Yep.
Ah, it's very much a cough. Um, but yeah, in case you can't
Oh
tell,
yeah.
I liked the show quite a bit, and I didn't know anything about it going into it other than having seen the trailers or a trailer.
Yeah, and the nonsense you may have picked up from us talking about the Fallout Commander
Right,
decks.
right. And Carrie didn't even see any of that.
I I just like that it worked on its own. Like I said, you
Yeah,
mentioned the lore dump, and any lore dumping that happens in the last two episodes is actually plot happening and is relevant to the all of our characters. Unlike, that's the wrap up lore dump. Like that's how you finish the story, as opposed to like in the Warcraft movie, the beginning of the movie lore dumping.
oh,
We get it.
so many movies do that. Hey, average viewer, you won't know the intricacies of the magic system, so let's spend the first 30 minutes having the characters explain it to each other, even though they live in this world, because that'll be totally natural.
That's the whiteboard, as you all know, talk.
Yeah.
As you all know. I
I'm trying to, did any of you watch the Wheel of Time show on Prime?
didn't I did
Mm-mm-mm.
not.
Damn it.
And I have not read the books.
I watched the first season because the previous time that I went to go visit the girls, uh, Megan basically made me. And I'm trying to remember because magic in that show or in that world works a very specific way, but I feel like it was spelled out over multiple episodes instead of sitting you down and going, look. But I can't remember. It could be that it sat you down and went, this is how this crap works. So I guess if anyone remembers, let me know because I don't remember. Although I'm going to have to rewatch season 1 so I can watch season 2. So never mind, I'll figure it out. But I think at some point in the future, especially if we can get Mike to watch Fallout, and maybe if we all watch like The Last of Us, which I still haven't watched, and like the Mario movie, like if I can get y'all to do some homework that involves watching entertaining shows and movies, I kind of think we should maybe do an episode in the future about why video game adaptations are suddenly not crap.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Because I feel like we did one back in the day about why, or maybe it was part of it just chatting, I can't remember, about why they were crap. But now they're becoming not crap. And that's awesome.
Agreed.
Yeah. not to throw off on the Warcraft movie, I just watched what is that channel's name? I can't remember. But they do a show called Caravan of Garbage, where that's just the name of the show. They just talk about, like, they pick a movie and it's two Australian dudes and they just, talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And they talk about good movies and bad movies. And the last couple weeks, and I think the next couple weeks, they're doing video game movies that didn't do so hot at the box office. And one of them was the one from today's or yesterday's, whenever's episode was the Warcraft movie. And I was like, oh my God, that was a movie, wasn't it? Because I saw that in the theater and I came out going, that was pretty good. Wasn't it?
Like,
It was
there
okay.
are worse video game adaptation movies, but yes, it's one, like, I'm a Warcraft lore
Nerd.
person. Yes, nerd. That's fine. I own it. And there were parts that I was happy about, and there were parts I was just like, okay, that they took just creative license to use characters and just kind of tell something.
I just didn't like how Medivh was obviously evil through the entire show, or the entire movie. And then you get to the end and you're like, oh my God, he's turned bad. I'm like, turned?
Yeah.
Was it supposed to be? I didn't see the movie, but I know the lore, and he's kind of complicated. So that was not. Was he just the obvious heel?
He was, in the movie, he was just a very arrogant person who's like, well, I can solve this problem and everything, and everyone's going, well, okay, great.
Yeah, and it was Ben Foster in his I'm obviously the bad guy mode. I'm like, come on, man. Anyway. So, let's see. What else? Hey! Speaking of video games, you might be able to tell from the backdrop, for those of you watching the video version of this or watching live. I've been playing the Power Wash Simulator in VR, and it's a problem.
I think you told us about this last time.
I think that was in the odds and ends, though. I think
Was it in the odds and ends? Okay,
I'm not.
I
entirely
remember
sure.
you telling us this, but
It's a problem. Like, I just want to get in the headset and clean stuff. Like, before I went to Dash today, I was in there cleaning stuff and didn't want to stop. And I went, wait, the new Frame Plus came out, and it's the animation of Final Fantasy VI, because Dan has been doing he's been going through all of the Final Fantasy games one by one, talking about the animation of each game and how it has grown with knowledge and technology. And I was like, it's half an hour long, so I need to stop at 4 so I can watch that before I go Dash. And I just kept, I was like, I finished the job I was on. I was like, all right, let me open the next job and save it. The next job was like a plane I needed to clean. I'll open the next job and save it, and then I'll stop and I'll watch the new Frame Plus, and then I'll go to work. And then I opened up the next job, and I was like, what is this logo? Because I could see a logo sticking out from under the dirt. I was like, what is this logo? Oh, that's cute. Oh, yeah, I remember this. And the next thing you know, I'd cleaned half of the plane. The whole time going, I really need to stop. Let me just ding. Okay, now I'll stop. Oh, that's not. Oh, I gotta clean that. Ding. All right, now I'll stop. I really should stop. It's bad.
so how clean is your apartment now? Do these skills transfer over one for one?
I can't pressure wash my apartment. Where would the water would just get in the carpet?
And then it goes out the door. It's fine. It's fine. You don't have anyone beneath you.
Oh, Chifuji said it was part of my closing thoughts after the RPG. Whoops.
Thought we had heard about it.
Well, I know you guys had heard about it, but okay, different thing then. Last night I play. So June is gonna be for short games. Now that I've finished Final Fantasy IV, I got to talk about that in a second. But last night I played a little game called Unpacking. And I have to highly recommend Unpacking to anybody who wants more out of video games than just, shooty, punchy, stabby. Because the entire gameplay of Unpack... Have you guys heard of this game?
Not yet.
I guess the other two
think so.
Silence.
I don't think so.
So,
yeah.
The entire gameplay is there are boxes in little rooms. You click on a box and an item pops out. You then put that item away somewhere where it goes, where you think it goes. And then you click on the box again and another item pops out. And, it sounds at its base level kind of lame, kind of boring. But the art style, for one, is adorable. Excuse me. And you follow the same character throughout their life every time they unpack their stuff. Like, you start off, and it's a kid. And they're unpacking. Apparently, the family moved, and there's a bigger house, and the kid is like, oh, finally, my own room. And you're unpacking all of the kid's stuff. And then the next one is their little crappy, I think it's supposed to be a dorm, but it's got like 3 rooms, so it's like a little crappy apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, because they've gone off to college. And then the next one is they're moving into a big house, but with at least, I think, 2 other roommates. So you've got to fit your stuff in amongst theirs. And it goes from there. But you follow, like I said, this one character through all of the moves of their life. And it's amazing how much story they are able to fit in to this just by the items that are there and the items that aren't there, like the next time.
Yeah, that's where I thought that was going. Is just that if that's the whole game and you're just following the lore, so to speak, of like, oh, this is what this person's going through in their life. That sounds pretty incredible.
It was surprisingly emotional. Now, granted, I'm a big softie, but like right at the end, after I was done, and I think it might have been after the credits rolled. This is still a little indie game, so the credits weren't that long. But it cuts to like a scene of your character and what's going on in life at that moment. And it's the first time that you actually see your character. And I straight up choked up, started crying. 100%. Right then. I was like, oh, and it wasn't a still image, but it had like 3 frames of animation that were just repeating, And I was like, oh. So it's very short. Like, I finished it last night. It took me like just under 5 hours, but that's because I was being entertaining. Apparently, it usually takes between 3 and 4 hours for a normal person to play.
Tell us the name of it again.
Unpacking.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's on, I'm pretty sure, all of the platforms. So if you've got any sort of anything that'll play games, it might be on phones for all I know. No dying, but
sorry.
It was really good. Like, I was blown away at how invested I got in taking crap out of boxes.
So you also finished Final Fantasy IV?
I did. I finally got through the Final Fantasy IV Pixel Remaster, and then I spent a few hours over the next couple days, knocking out the last couple of achievements.
I think I still have one or two achievements left because mostly I think looking for enemies in areas that I couldn't go back to. I had to look it up online. I'm like, where's the Lamia? I fought all these Lamia queens.
Oh,
Oh,
the
it's in the
Lamia
tower.
matriarch. Is it the
Yeah,
Lamia matriarch or just the Lamia?
I think it's the Lamia matriarch that is
Yeah,
in
one room.
one specific part of the Tower of Babel.
Yeah,
But so,
right
okay.
after you fight Rubicon and then fall down that room.
Yeah, but if you get to the new airship, the Falcon, it's too late.
Yeah, well, that's why you
Yeah.
keep rolling saves. Like, I just had to load that back up. Actually, no, I couldn't. I had to load up the one where I saved right outside of the castle in the underworld the first time. So, in order to get that one enemy, sorry, no, that's a different enemy. There's something that one of the security drone things in a treasure chest summons, and I killed that thing without it summoning anything. And it's the only place in the game to fight the regular Naga. So I
I
had to
think
load
there's
up outside of the castle, fight the Calbrena, fight Golbez, make my way to the tower, and go all the way up through that until I got to the treasure chests that had the security thing that summoned things. And I was like,
actually a super small part of the underworld where you can it's possible to fight some enemies like the Nagas that you would ordinarily have to fight somewhere else.
nope.
So, but like there's alarms there, but
Oh.
it's like three squares across.
No, there
So,
are eggs there that will hatch various other. Because
oh,
I had to go walk up and down that little spread for a while too. But yeah, that's
I'm
where
sure
you can
that's what
fight the
I'm thinking of.
cave Naga or the king Naga, one of those. But for the regular ass Naga, it's the only place in the game. And the same with the Lamia matriarch. I had to load up where I saved right before we found Edge and run through the whole game up until beat Rubicant and then drop. And then I wandered around in there until I found the Lamia matriarch. And then, oh my god, I found the Lamia matriarch. I killed it. One of the other enemies cast a charm on Cecil. Cecil cast teleport, which kicked us out of the battle, and it didn't add the matriarch to my to my bestiary. And I was like, ah!
Oh gosh.
That would have had me
But anyway,
screaming,
I was not streaming, but
screaming.
I was
Oh, so
screaming.
you said, yeah.
But yeah, that. But because I kept 20 rolling saves, I just had to load up, an old part and be like, here. But anyway, so I only have one problem with the Pixel Remaster of Final Fantasy IV.
If you say the music, I will come over and fight you.
It's the music. No, the music is amazing. It's the at the very end of the game, right?
Yeah.
The final boss will kill you unless you
Yep.
are, deep in the weeds about how to disrupt Zeromus's attacks and whatnot. And I'm not. But when Zeromus beats you and it reloads your quick save in the Pixel Remaster, it reloads when you walk into that room, which means you have to sit through the roughly 5 minutes of cutscenes and dialogue and crap every single time you lose the final battle. There's no option to save or quick save right before the actual fight.
Correct. It took Sam, I think, 3 or 4 tries to beat the final battle, to beat the final boss. So she was getting tired of that by the end. She hadn't seen it so many times that she was like, I hate this, but she was like, this feels like a bit much. And I said, back in the SNES days, you would have come from the final save point. So,
But
kids these days.
it is
I
not
don't know
kids
how
these
good
days.
they
This
got
is a
it.
modern remake that adds crap loads of quality of life improvements. And they didn't think to put a quick save right before the final fight.
That does seem to be a bit of an oversight,
And
yes.
it's right around 5 minutes if you're just jamming on the confirm button to get through all the dialogue. Which is way too long.
Right.
Yeah.
What was that, Mike?
I said, yikes.
Yeah.
That is way too long for clicking through text.
And someone in the chat pointed out, they're like, wow, that all of this dramatic nonsense really loses its edge after, I think it was Stark, actually. He showed up for the final episode of Final Fantasy IV. Was like, this, all this dramatic nonsense really loses its edge the fourth time you see it, doesn't it?
First time you're like, that's really getting you. I see where they're coming from, inspirational and friends and all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. And by the fifth time, you're like, I know, I know so much.
Like, I think one of the times I was so upset that once it did the auto battle with Golbez and Fusuya, I just got up and walked away. I was like, I'm gonna go get ice cream. And I got up and went to the kitchen and got ice cream and came back just as the fight ended. And I sat there, like, eating ice cream with my pinky on, because for some reason, touching the right stick during a dialogue box is the same as pressing the confirm button. So I just had my pinky rocking the right stick back and forth while I ate ice cream out of the container. Just like, all right, can I have my turn? And one of those fights, the bastard Big Bang twice in a row. So I just died. And I was like, great, awesome, that was fun.
That is the appropriate response, yes.
Like, thanks, game. I'm so glad that happened. That is literally my only complaint with the entirety of the Final Fantasy IV Pixel Remaster. I loved everything about it until I died to the final boss the first time and was like, oh, come on. And I think someone pointed out the same thing, well, in the Super Nintendo version, this is not the Super Nintendo version. This is the modern, improved version that has all of the modern amenities. Like, put the save right before everybody shows up in the battle scene with Zemus and brings us all back to life. Like, damn. So yeah, that was my only complaint. Even the achievements weren't that bad. That, the missable things. I made sure to get all of the items and the chests and all that stuff. And like I said, I always keep rolling saves in games like that anyway, just because I don't want to screw something up. Going back to my Super Nintendo days. So nothing was actually missable because I just had to go back and load an older save and then remember how to play my depowered characters. That was a trip. And then what took me the longest was actually just getting everybody to level 70. But I just wandered around the moon.
When I figured out that if one character was alive, they would get 5 times as much experience. When everybody else was 70, I just killed everyone except for Rydia, and then just kept Bahammating everything. So
like Kane hit 60 first, so I killed him. The next fight, Cecil hit 60, so I killed him. The next, like 3 fights later, Edge hit 60, so I killed him. But both of my mage ladies were rocking bows with the Artemis arrows, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so they could kill those gold and silver dragons in 2 shots. So I was just like, all right, they can't do enough damage to me to even matter. And Rydia had on the adamant armor anyway, because I had to go find the pink tail for one of the achievements, which I got on stream. I went into the room where the Flan princesses are and used the siren a couple times. And I was like, all right, I'll do one more and then I'll get back to the game. Or then I'll stop because it was late. And it gave me a tail. I was like, oh! Well, that was easy. That's how it was with all of the hidden hidden summons too, or secret summons. Like I went to a place and like I found a video. I was like, here's where you get them, because I could not remember to save my ass. And I just sort of used a couple sirens or wandered around depending on, whatever. And it was like, all right, here you go. It's like, sweet. I was on my way to where that video told me to go grind for the bombs on the moon. And I fought some bombs and it gave it to me. And I was like, oh,
Done.
guess I'll stop. Thanks, game.
Did you have any frog ladies in the green cave to wake up Yang give you a ribbon?
I did not, no. And I fought a bunch of them. But I couldn't remember where you said. I remember you saying you found a dropped ribbon. I couldn't remember where, but I never did get one. I did find that super powerful final arrow, the Artemis. I think it's the Artemis arrow.
Yeah, it's the Artemis arrow.
Yeah, I found one in a chest, got another from a drop from an enemy, gave that to the second one to Rydia. It was like, sweet! Found another one in a chest, and then I think I got 1 or 2 more from random drops later. I was like, what in the hell is going on? Oh, chat asked, what kind of ice cream did I enjoy watching the Moonmen fight? Well, it's this one right here. What was it? Deep dark chocolate. Dark chocolate ice cream with choco chips. Turkey Hill brand. Hashtag not sponsored. There wasn't much left, so I just dug in and ate it all. Nom, nom. But yeah, so I'm gonna leave Final Fantasy V until next month because June is for short games.
And that is not a short game.
No. I knocked out Unpacking tomorrow night. I'm either going to play like Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion or the Katamari Damacy Reroll or Donut County. One of those. Because I put up a poll. I don't remember if I said this on the show or not. I put up a poll and dropped it in the Discord. I was like, hey, here's a bunch of short games. Vote for as many as you like. And Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion amazingly got the most votes. But I wasn't feeling that last night, so I played Unpacking. I was like, I need something chill. Yeah, the new one is Turnip Boy Robs a Bank. That is a longer game, though, and I don't own it yet. So, yeah. Over the course of the month, I'm going to play Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion, Firewatch, Katamari Damacy Reroll, Donut County, which is like an inverted Katamari Damacy. Like, instead of making a ball that gets bigger and bigger and bigger and rolls up bigger things, you're a hole that sucks, that eats bigger and bigger things and gets bigger and bigger. It's very strange. Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, Inside, and those are the ones I'm absolutely going to do. And then if there's more time in the month, I'll do No Time to Explain and Carrion. Carrion is a trip. It's a Metroidvania where you are a giant writhing mass of eyes and teeth and tentacles. You're like a sci-fi movie monster wandering around this, I think, underground scientific base or something. So yeah. And if there's time later in the month after that, then I'll play some of these others that got fewer votes. It's like a murderer's row of indie hits. Yeah, except they're all very short. Like, hopefully all of these will take 2 streams max. Because I really wanted to play some shorter games. I was like, I'll just knock them all out in 1 month. This will be great. And then I can go back to Final Fantasy and whatever else. Yeah. But anyway, what do you guys want to talk about? What's up? Dorks. Or chat. Or whatever. Oh, wait a minute. There's a question. Cynthia said, sorry if this is a silly question, but am I right in saying you're all Magic the Gathering heads? I mean, sorta.
That's why I started the podcast.
Yeah. This, like, the Mana Pool for the vast majority of its existence was a Magic the Gathering podcast. Now we're still mostly an MTG podcast, but I personally am trying to get away from it since Wizards of the Coast has become more and more and more of an evil corporation as time has passed.
Yeah, the corrupting influence of Hasbro.
Yeah. I had never played, and then I went to college, and before Mike came, it was actually somebody else. It was Nate that was like, play some Magic. I'm like, okay, cool. And then Mike came, and no offense to Nate, but I learned how to play properly.
Yeah.
Like the whole, you didn't miss your untap step because you just forgot. So that sort of stuff. And that was in 2003. And I've been playing pretty much solidly since then. I know some people generally take breaks. And I haven't played physically in a while. I actually have not gone to the last 2 pre-releases, but I still play Arena. So I think I have played either paper or Arena for pretty much every set that's come out since then. Every standard legal set. I have not done all of the products, although I've tried a lot. Like, you remember Conspiracy and that sort of stuff? Tried a lot of that. But, yes. Start out that way. I still play to a certain extent. Back in the day, we would go to GPs and stuff. We wouldn't travel like across the country. Well, no, Chewie did. Chewie.
Yeah, Mike and I
went to Vegas.
Jersey once.
Yeah, Chewie and I went to New Jersey on a road trip, and then Chewie went to the first super big one in Las Vegas.
Dude, there was a time there where every GP that I went to was the biggest something.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Charlotte was the biggest one ever. We went to one in, was it Richmond? That was the biggest, whatever that format was. Modern, I think?
Modern, yeah.
Really Jersey was the biggest legacy one. Vegas was the next biggest one. Like, every GP I went to was the biggest in some way. And I was like, I'm awesome.
Well, and because I really think Magic was really hitting its stride. When you look at how many people were playing, and how many people were attending GPs, both for the main event as well as for side events. And it's really, I think it's difficult to pinpoint exactly what the slide down, where it started. I'm sure someone more analytical than me could say, oh, it was exactly whatever. But was COVID the start of the decline, or was it the nail in the coffin?
I don't know. It definitely hit it with a shovel.
These are the best analogies.
I don't feel like it was slowing down before then.
I mean, things had capped out as far as things being huge.
Maybe they weren't growing at the same rate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just even if they weren't, even if it wasn't like gangbusters like it was, it probably had slowed down to a certain extent. But yeah, it's hard to really have events when you had actual thousands of people showing up for GPs, hundreds in the main event or more, and tons of people playing in the side events. It's not easy to distance socially or otherwise.
No,
So,
That's one way to put it.
that's a limited one in Charlotte. I mean, it was so crazy that the main event had to start like stealing tables from vendors, and
I remember that.
the start of the
I
main
remember
event
that.
was delayed for like 2 or 3 hours.
Hmm. And it wasn't, nobody was happy about it, but at the same time, it was like, well, but it's
And
still a really good
they had to do the
feeling.
last round of day one on Sunday morning.
Yes. Well, the Charlotte where I actually made day
Yeah.
2. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You were talking about that one. I was thinking of another GP Charlotte, but yeah,
Oh yeah,
because I
I was
was
talking
on
about
the
that one.
bubble. I had to I had not planned to stay overnight for that, and I had to call Carrie and be like, "I'm not coming home as long as, that's okay, because apparently I'm doing really awesome." And so Chewie and everybody let me bunk with them, but I was literally like, got up for Sunday morning, and if I won, I would continue to play, and if I lost, I was done right there. There's a reason why they usually do the cut for day 2 at the end of day 1. There's a reason for that. Um, but
But they got, the venue closed down and kicked everyone out because they had started so late and they had to do so many rounds they couldn't physically finish day one on Saturday.
yes, yeah. Oh, I get it, and it really was extremely extenuating circumstances.
Yeah, and I got up with Brian that morning because I couldn't let him have to deal with all that by himself, even though I am not a morning person at all.
He wasn't, and I love him for it.
I had to get up and go down to the eat breakfast and hit the event and whatnot with Brian.
Yep.
And yeah, that first round thing was brutal. I was doing 3 questions at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I found somebody. I'm trying to remember Paul Rietzel. I knew if I scrolled through the list of pro Magic players, his name would jump out at me. But yeah, that's him. I caught him after that first round for 3 questions, and he had just lost. And I'd hit him with the I think 2 of the 3 questions. I looked down, and the stupid recorder had messed up and wasn't recording. And I was like, "Oh no, the recorder's not recording." He's like, "I just do it again." I'm like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yeah, go for it." And I was like, he became like my favorite Magic player for a long time after that because like he had just gotten up super early for this, not even day 2, to see if he could do day 2. And I caught him after he lost. And he was still just the nicest about understanding, oh, the recorder screwed up. And he gave me the same like energy and enthusiasm he did the first time. And I was like, dude, you're my hero. Since Magic Pros, so many Magic Pros either have the reputation or actually are dicks. It was good to it was good to have him not be one.
Mm-hmm.
There were several that were just every time that I found them at an event and was like, I guess I'll talk to them. And it was just every time I was like, why did I waste my time with this jackass?
Yeah.
I
One of
remember
which got chased out of the game for various bad things involving, sexual harassment, and tried to go to Hearthstone or something, and hopefully now he's dead. That guy sucked. Not even gonna say his name. That guy sucked.
I remember in day one of that event, I ended up playing against someone who was either pro or semi-pro at that point, and it was kind of interesting / obnoxious because I was announcing all my triggers, and he's like, "Yeah, I know what that card does," and I'm like, "Yeah, but I have to say it because if I don't say it, I'm gonna get in trouble." And he was kind of chill for the first game until I won, and then he played game 2 as hard as he could, and he beat me, and then I steamrolled him in game 3, and he just kind of walked off. And at breakfast the next morning, there were some other players, and I said, "Yeah, I played against that person," and they're like, "Oh, he's a troll." And I don't think they meant it like an online troll. The vibe I got was the actual lives under a bridge kind of troll from them.
No, they have a
And
cave troll.
Yeah.
They have a cave troll.
So, and I'm not saying who it was, even though I actually remember that person's name, because I don't know if
Type it
it
in
was
the
a
chat.
he. Shouldn't surprise.
The Discord chat, not the Twitch chat.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Discord chat, I want to that tells me nothing. I want to
Yeah, I had the full name in my head a second ago until you said put it in the chat.
Oh, my
then I
bad.
forgot the surname.
So as you
Keep
all
going.
know,
Oh,
we just
hate,
hit episode 700, and Planeswalker Pat sent me this gem from way back in the day. This is I guess I could get this up on the screen where people can see it. I don't know how to do that. Open in browser.
Yes.
Where? How do I do that? Hang on. Nope. Dirk's not 404.
Oh.
Hang on. I'm trying to find the actual properties. There we go. This Mana Pool episode 100. I don't remember if he made this or if he just found it and sent it back to me.
I was
Pretty sure he
using
made
the he might have made it, but I was using the creator tool quite a bit then, and like there were some episodes if we made a joke, I would turn it into a card. So it's one of those things where I don't want to take credit for it because I don't know that I did it, but I was doing that a whole lot. Was that the picture from Dorks Giving?
Maybe? I mean, I
Yeah.
remember Lex took this picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But look, Brian and Dirk both have hair, and I don't, and Mike doesn't even have a beard.
That's so trippy though. The beardless Mike.
Yeah,
Just
it's a weird thing. So yeah, this for those of you listening to the audio version, Mana Pool episode 100 costs 2 and everything but a red, it seems. And it's a tribal sorcery dork. And it says cast Mana Pool episode 100 only if the game has been going for 1 to 2 hours, depending on the episode. Start a new game already. And then the flavor text says, thanks for listening and go play some Magic. So that, he sent me that and was like, hey, look what I found. And I don't, like I said, I don't know if he made this and found it with his stuff or if he had saved it because I'm pretty sure this was on the website back in the day. I can't remember. But he's like, you know what? I'm going to make one for episode 700. And I was like, all right, go for it. Because, you know, I can't stop you.
Sure.
And so after a day or so, he sent me this.
Oh, wow.
Which, the Mana Pool episode 700 with an exclamation point, costs 7, a blue-black hybrid, and a red-green hybrid.
No white. That's funny because we're all white here, but all right.
We are super white.
Yeah.
So it says, and this is, I think he's altered the saga rules for this card. It says, as the saga, enters, and after each draw step, add a lore counter, sacrifice after 7.
I see what
I
he did
think
there.
I think that's just wait. What?
No, it's not usually after each draw step.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see it now.
And so 1 through 6 are, 1 through 5 says, until this card leaves, adding mana to the mana pool, because he made sure to put in to the mana pool, because they took that off of cards, and I'll never forgive them. So that until this card leaves, adding mana to the mana pool adds mana of that color equal to the amount of lore counters on this card, which is stupidly overpowered.
It's 9 to play, or 7 and 4 life.
Sounds like it works for everybody.
Where did you get 7 and 4 life from?
Oh, they're not Phyrexian symbols.
No,
So
no,
never mind.
They're
So
regular ass
this will
hybrid
cost 9 mana. So you can do stupid stuff at 9 mana. That's allowed.
mana. It's true, yeah.
See omnipotence. So
At 6, it says mana doesn't empty from the mana pool as steps and phases end. And then chapter 7 is start a new game already.
yeah, I mean if you get to 4 counters on here and you haven't won the game yet, then I mean come on. It is time to start a new
What are we
game.
even doing here?
Yeah.
And
Something I've been asking myself for 16 years.
the art is the old fogey with
Yeah.
the mana pool logo on his chest, which I find hilarious.
It's awesome. This is mwah, I love it.
Ow!
Great.
And then I punched myself in my headset because I'm smart like that.
Well, I think this is as good a time as any to say I need to go start a new game. I actually have a crap ton of work that I need to get done, and I told the guys this beforehand. And given what time it is, I am going to take a bit of an early exit. You guys, please continue your conversation. This has been great. I gotta say, as a final thought, Final Fantasy IV still remains one of my absolute favorite games of all time. Don't not Final Fantasy. I mean, like favorite games of all time. So I'm glad Chewie really enjoyed it. Um,
I mean, it's my second favorite of the Final Fantasy games, so
what's your favorite?
I mean 6.
Well, there you go. I didn't know how that ranked with the Final Fantasy VII remake because remake is pretty darn awesome.
Oh,
I don't
count
have
that, so
okay. I don't have a 5. I want to try Rebirth, but I don't have a PS5. So,
yeah.
but looks like I'm already 404, which is appropriate. But everyone have a good night. This has been fun, and I look forward to talking to people later.
Nipey.
Good night.
He's been sick.
Yeah, I would say 7 ranks up pretty high with me, but 6 is my absolute favorite.
So the weird thing about 7 for me is that I don't know why, but I have no, and I mean no, first-hand memories of what happens in Final Fantasy VII. Like I know what happens in Final Fantasy VII, and I know all the twists. I mean, other than the one thing that everyone remembers, I remember that happening and going, but other than that, like the big revelation about Cloud and all of that, nope. I know that what all that is, but that's from later information, watching stuff, in later years. I don't remember any of that from playing it myself, which is bizarre because I definitely played the holy living hell out of Final Fantasy VII. But I think I was more interested in excuse me, in like the gameplay and fidgeting with materia and whatnot than I was what was going on, because it just didn't stick. Which weirds me out because 6 absolutely stuck. So I'm looking forward to going back to 7 once I, get through the Pixel Remasters. Of which I only have 2 left. I mean, it was pretty anime for its time, but I had literally 0 experience with anime at that point, so I wouldn't have known that. Like, I wouldn't have made that connection. Unlike playing the remake, when I'm like, why are they so anime? With the hands on the hips and leaning forward and the one finger cocked at an angle and the wink. Stop that! Like I kept telling the kid, my friend Amanda's offspring, like, I'm playing the most anime-ass game that I've ever played. The kid was like, why? And I would demonstrate. Every time one of the characters does this, I want to shove my head through a wall. The kid thought that was fun. The kid is going to high school.
Oh, wow.
Like this Saturday, there's Amanda's having like a get-together cookout thing to celebrate the kid getting out of middle school. And I was telling Amanda earlier today, I'm like, oh, you should probably play Unpacking. It's about tidying up, which, she's all about. And it's like really weirdly emotional given, what you're doing in the game. She's like, oh no, I'd probably be a wreck. I was like, I don't think it's that emotional. She's like, Chewie, I have a kid who's about to go to high school. I am not okay. I'm like, yeah, all right. That's fair. But oh well.
The only Final Fantasy game I've played is 10. That's it.
Oh yeah, and you guys played the ever-living life out of that game.
Oh yeah, Gabe did especially. He and part of what led him to do that was because he was interested in the game. He had fun, and he started reading more about it, and he found out about an XP generating exploit that involved those little lizard guys with the knife and the lantern.
Tonberries?
Tonberries.
Those little
there's
bastards.
some kind of XP generating exploit from Tonberries, and Gabe was basically able to use that to like run the board for the skill tree with like almost every character. So Lulu was doing like all 9s damage with like a melee attack with a little cactar doll and crazy stuff like that.
That's not right.
No, he got into a lot of the side stuff, and the that arena thing, that like monster hunting arena thing. He had been trying to beat the final enemy of that. Was it Nemesis? What was it called?
No idea.
Anyway.
I didn't play 10.
And he had put several tries into it, and then on another try, he just decided, okay, I'm just going to try casting Doom and see what happens. I mean, Doom hardly works on anything that you want it to. But he cast Doom, and he saw a little counter appear above the enemy's head, 255. So he had like auto life on everyone, so he just like sat there and waited through 255 turns of getting his whole team wrecked over and over again. Just throwing Phoenix Downs at each other and auto lifing themselves, and Doom finally killed the enemy.
That is ridiculous.
Yes, it was.
Which sounds like Gabe, yeah.
Yes, it does.
Oh! By the way, I forgot I had this tab open until I just accidentally clicked on it. Unpacking is on Steam, Switch, Xbox One, PlayStation, Apple App Store, Google Play Store, and it's on GOG. So if anybody wants to play Unpacking anywhere, you can. Hashtag not sponsored. Anyway. Yeah, people keep asking, how many of these games are you going to play? Because, I've been going through, the numbers, starting with on the Pixel Remasters. I played through, a couple years ago, I played through the PSP version on stream of Final Fantasy 1, which was gorgeous, but it had a bunch of extra dungeons and crap that were just slogs and weren't fun to me. So I was like, I really don't want to do all this extra crap. So I just didn't. Because you had to go through this long, stupid dungeon, some of the floors of which were mazes. And then at the end, you would have a choice of bosses to fight. When you fought that boss, it would kick you out. And you'd have to do it all again. And I'm like, come on, man. And I think I did that twice for the first of these hidden dungeons. And I was like, well, let me continue the main story. And I was way over leveled. Way over leveled. I was like, man, now it's not fun anymore. Like, I don't want to kill the next elemental fiend in 2 hits. Jesus Christ. At least let me get a couple turns in before I smash them. So, yeah. But I started over with 1 for the Pixel Remaster, and because I've played all of the ones, on the 8 and 16-bit eras that came to the States. So I'd played 1, 4, 6. And I'd started 2 on the PlayStation 1 release on Final Fantasy Origins, and it was crap. So I didn't play it very long. But Pixel Remasters are brilliant. So I've gone through 1 through 4. I'm super excited to play 5. And then there's 6 is, obviously my pinnacle. And then I'll probably go on and download all of the graphics update mods for 7 just to make it super pretty. Maybe not the character model updates. I really like the stupid, horrible looking, blocky, ridiculous PS1 character models for Final Fantasy 7. And then I don't know if I'll keep going after that, to be honest. But since that's going to be a couple years from now, probably, by the time I get done with these 3 games, since I tend to stream multiple games at once, Do you suppose after you finish playing Final Fantasy games, you'll check out the Dragon Quest series? I mean, maybe?
That's a long series.
Yeah, and they haven't done anything to do that. To like redo them and bring them back. I'm trying to remember, what was the last one?
I've got multiple versions of, the NES ones. Because I think all 4 of the NES games were, remade on the Super Nintendo in Japan. I know at least 2 of them were, but I think all 4 of them were. And, in my massive collection of ROMs, I've got all of that. And they've all been fan translated, and I've got all of those too. So, I mean, I might, but I don't know. Something about, I think it's because Dragon Warrior, in the States, is so lame and boring, even compared to Final Fantasy 1. Like, it's awful. And I'm not going to make any bones about it. Yes, it was a seminal work. Yes, it's before the tropes, whatever. It's bad. And
yeah, 11 is the one that you can get on Steam.
The one? The one?
Yeah, because beyond that, you have
Oh God, that is the only one.
Yeah, because past that, it's all.
I mean, there's a billion spin-offs that are on Steam, but none of the actual games. That's depressing. Oh, there's a hot chick. Hello. Hey, baby. Did you ever play any Dragon Quest games? Okay, then. Probably not.
I'd have to see. I don't remember titles of things.
That's true, yeah. Renee was big into, what, PS1 and 2 RPGs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tons of spin-offs, but only the one main game. That's kind of why I was like, I've had it on my wish list. Odds are it will stay on that wish list forever.
Yeah. I know Dragon Quest, other than, yeah, Cynthia in the chat just pointed out, yeah, DQ9 was like the one that got big coverage here in the States for some reason. Back when it came out. But I don't know. Dragon Warrior, which is what the first one was renamed here in the States because of copyright reasons, did so poorly that like Nintendo was giving them away. Sorry. Cynthia just said here in the UK we had Jedward doing the adverts for some bizarre reason. I guess for Dragon Quest 9. And I don't think Jedward are human. If you don't know what Jedward is, everybody listening to this, you should look them up. Look up their appearances on 8 out of 10 Cats, especially, which is a British like light entertainment panel show hosted by Jimmy Carr. Some of those clips live in my head rent free. Like when they're talking about Jesus and what's the guy from Taskmaster, Mike?
Greg Davies.
There we go. And Greg Davies like loses his mind listening to them. And that is some of the funniest stuff I've ever seen. They're not human though. I'm not sure they're literate. Like yeah, Renee just said from the living room, they're barely sentient. Like, they have no self-awareness. They frighten me. What are they? Are they like a...
Brothers.
I mean, I know they're brothers, but are they like a musical act? Are they just goofy? They've been around forever. So, like, what...
Mm-hmm.
What are they singers? I don't know. I don't even know. I only know them from reputation of how bizarre they are. Anyway. Freaking Jedward. If you had told me that we were going to be talking about Jedward on this episode, I'd been like, no, we're not. Anyway. Now what? What we were about... yeah. Dragon Warrior 1, like I said, did so poorly with sales in the States that Nintendo was just giving them away, literally. And then 2, 3, and 4, while apparently much better games, like 3 and 4 especially, were just impossible to find. Like the American versions of Dragon Warriors 3 and 4 are fairly rare around these days. So I just never got into any of them. And I don't think anything until 9 made its way to the States. And if it did, it was so completely unpromoted that I just missed it. So yeah, to answer your question, probably not. Although I do have a bunch of them available. Oh, you guys know a series that I wanna stream. I think probably I'll do it sooner rather than later. The Gargoyles Quest games.
Sounds vaguely familiar. What is it?
So you remember? Okay, did you ever play Ghosts and Goblins or Ghouls and Ghosts?
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you know, the little red gargoyle who always shows up and murders you, and you're like, damn it!
Oh,
Yeah, one of those got his own spin-off game on the Game Boy, and it was an action RPG.
Neat.
And then it got a sequel on the NES. And then it got another sequel on the Super NES called Demon's Crest. And yeah, you're Firebrand, and you can walk around on the overworld and talk to people like a Final Fantasy game, and then when you go into levels or whatever, they're side-scrolling action platformers where you can fly, jump and float and grab a hold of walls if you've properly powered up, and breathe fire, stuff like that. And by all accounts, they're all really good. And, you know, being Game Boy, Nintendo, and Super Nintendo games, they're not terribly long. So the only reason I haven't streamed them yet is because I've got 50 other games I'm trying to stream at the same time. So, yeah, Firebrand was also in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. And if he was in Infinite, no one cares. Infinite wasn't good. So yeah, there's a bunch of random old classic like the Rocket Knight games. I want to stream those too. Any of you guys ever play Rocket Knight games?
That's another one that I've heard of, but
The original one was on the Genesis, is Rocket Knight Adventures, and then it had a sequel called Sparkster because that was the character's name, and on the Genesis and the Super Nintendo, but they were two different games. They just had the same box art and the same name, but they were completely different games. And then recently, you know, in the last 10 years or so, which is recent when you're talking about 16-bit games, had a game just called, I think, Rocket Knight that came out on Steam. Rocket Knight.
okay, this comment in the chat, be a gallant rocket-powered opossum knight. Okay, yes, I do remember seeing ads for that in comic books and stuff. I didn't play it.
Oh! Rocket Knight Adventures Resparked. Oh, it hasn't come out yet. Okay. I was like, it's listed on Steam, which is a collection of those three games.
Cool.
That seems to be the only thing Konami is doing anymore, is just releasing collections of old games. Which works for me. Like, if they're not going to make good games, at least let us play your old ones that didn't suck, you know?
Agreed.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm going to head off to bed here,
Well,
gentlemen.
we lost another one.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Unfortunately. So,
No dying.
I try not to.
Good job. I
So-
hate to have to cut you, but I'll do it.
Alrighty. Well, you guys have a wonderful night.
All right, night, Zerk.
All right.
Good
Good
night,
night.
gentlemen.
What about me?
You too.
Oh, okay. Well, you said gentlemen. So naturally, I assumed you weren't talking about us. Or me. That seems natural anyway. Well, now Dirk's 404. Whoop. Now it's just us, Mike.
Yeah.
And you're apparently on a
Common
delay.
end to the evening. Huh?
What?
Saying it's a pretty common end to a podcast evening.
It's not even 10 o'clock yet. Chifuji said, now the real show can begin. Yeah, this is where Mike and I rub olive oil in each other and grind. Wait, Mike, are you in my apartment?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay, never mind then. I guess this is where Renee can rub olive oil on me and grind? I don't know. I don't even have any olive oil. Sorry to disappoint you, Mike.
Well, you'll just have to skip straight to the grind part.
Oh, yeah. Also known as Chafee. Oh, Lord. I guess we could probably just wrap it up here.
Yeah, I suppose.
Since once we don't have Brian and Dirk to bounce off of, you sort of zone out.
Yeah, I apologize for that.
Do you, though?
I do apologize.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what I'm going to do about it, but...
Oh, I could make it like hockey. I could start fining you guys every time. Every time I have to be like, Mike, you're like, what? Sorry. Yeah, that's $10. I would say I'll start finding y'all when you're late to a recording, but you know, I don't want to break you.
All right.
That's okay. We would have been late starting this episode anyway. No, we're not going to go into it. Oh well. Anything else that we need to cover there before we call it?
No, I don't think so.
So you were supposed to come up with something that had me, so I had time to get to the Patreon thing. Dang it, man.
Oh, okay. Think here. Yeah, I don't know. It seems just like I don't know, I feel like I've lost touch with stuff happening and just things rushing around me. Sometimes I'm like, oh, that's happening. Oh, that's gonna be next week. Oh, that's gonna be the week after that.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. I guess the big thing is like I'm gonna be 40 years old soon. It's like, wow, yeah, that's just just a couple more weeks.
Dang it, man. Who said you could get old?
Well, no one asked me, so I don't know.
That's fair, I guess. You know, for now.
Yeah.
All right, then. So, hey, don't forget, you know, the patreon.com/themanapool thing. And let me thank our mythic lifeguards, which you too could be one. Kim Ho, Jake Jansons, Jason Doan, Timu Hills-Haryu, Jason Kaus, Al, Casey, John Parker, Michael, Scuzzo, ALK Alters, and Andrew Odie. Yay. But I guess that's all we got. This was suitably broad, though. Yeah, we were all over the place, which is always good. I enjoy being all over the place.
Yeah, it was a good hangout.
Yeah. So, with that, I guess we will be done. So, this has been another episode of Dorks Just Chatting. That's us. We're the Dorks, and we were chatting, you see? Because Just Chatting is a category on Twitch. Anyway. So, thank you all so very much for joining us. And, oh, I got nothing. I try to find something to go there that's relevant to what we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
But there's nothing. Oh, here we go. Thank you all so very much for joining us. And be sure to put a quick save right before you fight the final boss.